Hello and welcome to Tokenverse podcast series, where we interview the most inspiring and influential minds to discuss the future of Web3 technologies and the most disruptive fields, including the world of arts, gaming, governance, and economics. We're here to lead you through this paradigm shift by exploring the most groundbreaking trends and cutting-edge solutions. This production is brought to you by Doing Good, an NFT marketplace, empowering the creators and connecting people who want to do good across the world. My name is Ania Poullain-Majchrzak. I'm a film producer and journalist. And today we are joined by Nick Mudge, co-creator of coder of Aavegotchi and QuickSwap. And perhaps Nick, you will introduce yourself in the best way.
Sure, yeah. So my background is in software development, and since 2018, I've been involved with Solidity development, smart contracts, and worked on some standards like ERC 998 and EIP-2535, called the Diamond standard, and worked with various projects. And I'm also a smart contract technical advisor for some projects. Yeah.
Fantastic. Can you tell me, and of course, you've done so many things. What are you mostly proud of?
Well, I'm proud of really just all the work I do. I don't think there's any particular thing. I'm proud of work with Aavegotchi. I'm proud of some good things that happened with QuickSwap. I'm proud of just working on projects that done well. Nothing really, that's nothing like really stands out, but just generally, I like the work that I've done on the projects I've worked on.
Fantastic. It's great to talk to people who actually love their work. And it seems like every project you get involved with, you really believe in it. And maybe let's talk a bit more about the QuickSwap. So tell me, how did you get involved in that project?
So there was a Ethereum, and I felt that for some kinds of applications, the gas fees were too high on Ethereum. And so I just thought it was just, it made sense that there would be opportunities on a blockchain where the gas fees were lower. And Matic Network at the time it was called, just seemed like a good option for, dApps that could do more because the fees cost less. And so I got involved with Matic Network, now Polygon, and started getting familiar with it, the bridge and the people, and it just made sense to me that if there was going to be projects developed on Polygon, that they would need a DEX for projects would need to integrate with the DEX or for exchanging tokens and integration token related things, and people moving over to the Polygon, they bring their assets, their coins, they bridge it, but I could see they might want to change coins to something else, and it wouldn't be fun to bridge all the way back to Ethereum just to swap coins. So it just made sense, a DEX there, and there were other people interested. Sandeep from Polygon, connected me with Sameep and Rock, and we went from there.
Fantastic. And from your perspective, why are DEX so important?
Well, they're important because they because there's so many different tokens, and if you want to get involved with a new project, if it has a token, then you'll need to get their token, and the DEX helps with that right there of being able to get other tokens and to of course buying and selling and for trading. It's important to, I think it's sort of like a connection point for different projects, and I see that in QuickSwap where there's a lot of different projects involved with QuickSwap, and so it's a way to even find out about new projects and get familiar with other kinds of tokens. It's a way. So I think for various reasons like those.
Mm-hmm. And I see QuickSwap as a kind of a project which is pioneering certain solutions in that field. I was wondering if you think if there is any space for improvement when it comes to DEX.
Sure. I think there's always more innovation that can be done. Like more efficient, more efficient exchanging of tokens, more ideas about it. QuickSwap has various staking functionality that can be improved, more user interface improvements, things like that. Yeah.
And when it comes to QuickSwap, well, actually, where would you like to see it in, let's say, like, I don't know, 2 years' time?
Well, I think that it'll just get better. I think the user interface will get better. I think staking with it will get better. I think that it's possible that the swapping and the trading, I think it'll just keep doing what it's doing, but it'll just all get better.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And you dedicated your 3 years to building the diamond standard, aka EIP-2535.
Mm-hmm.
And you're clearly passionate about this project. So I was wondering what inspired you to create this?
Yeah, sure. So I was working on a project that was implementing a smart contract that was implementing ERC-998, which is the composable non-fungible token standards. The idea of an NFT that can hold within inside it another NFT or ERC-20 tokens, and it's an extension of the standard non-fungible token standard ERC-721. And so what I ran into so I implemented ERC-721, and then I was implementing ERC-998 functionality, and then I was implementing custom functionality for the app. And the app was called Mokins, and it's still up there, still going on. So when I was implementing all this functionality into a single contract, I found that it exceeded the bytecode limit for smart contracts. They can only get so big, and but the thing is that when you have like an NFT, it really makes sense to have like your NFT functionality all in the same contract. I didn't want to somehow split it into. I wanted one address for my NFT, so that when software and people were going to interact with my NFT, they just interacted with a single address. Mm-hmm. And so then I went to work to like, well, this is a problem for me. I just could see it was going to be a problem for other projects that had enough functionality for their NFTs or DeFi project or whatever they're doing. And so I just started working on that problem, and I got a lot of feedback, did different things, and the result is the EIP-2535 Diamonds, also called the Diamond Standard. So yeah, that's what it resulted. But then it actually worked out into an architecture that actually had additional advantages than just the size limit. Like I found that when you're dealing with a lot of functionality, it's useful to have an organized structure, so that things are organized in a good way. And so that I found the diamond helped do that naturally, provide a natural organization for a lot of functionality. And then it also added this other advantage of like, well, what if diamonds can be upgradable or not? But a nice thing about a diamond that's upgradable is, let's say that you implement your token or whatever, and then later down the road you realize it would be really great if our token could do blah. If we can now add, maybe a new standard comes out, and for some functionality you want to add that to your token, and with the diamond you can just go ahead and add additional functionality, deploy additional functionality, add it to your diamond without having to redeploy your entire diamond. So you can just, it gave this fine-grained upgradable functionality where you could just add, replace, remove just the things that you want to, and not have to replace everything. And so that's been useful. It's been particularly useful for projects that want to launch, and they have a roadmap for more development, and so the diamond makes it easier to implement new features as time goes on, and just add. It makes that development roadmap easier to implement and faster. And I've experienced that with Aavegotchi project that just did that. That's done that, and so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, before we move to Aavegotchi project, I was wondering if, especially for less technical audience, if we could unpack it a little bit, and maybe you could tell us, imagine if I'm an NFT creator, how can I best benefit from the standards you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. So it really depends on what kind of project you're doing. Like if you're doing an NFT that's like just kind of like an art-based project where you just need a simple NFT implementation to just the standard functionality of transferring your NFT and providing its metadata, like its name and its symbol and that kind of stuff, then you don't need the diamond for that, because the diamond is really for where you have a lot of functionality, or you're going to, again, I said add more functionality in the future. So it's really like, so if you're just, so it depends on what you want to do. If you're just, if you're an NFT creator and you have like, it's like, it's going to be kind of an art project, art by meaning like, it's just a standard NFT with an image, and maybe you're creating a community, you're doing other things, but you're not expanding the technology of your NFT. But if you want to create like a game, an NFT based game where you're going to take your NFT and it's going to be able to, it's gonna be connected to some other NFT, or you're gonna be able to put ERC20 tokens inside your NFT, or you're gonna create a metaverse where your NFT is gonna be placed on the land, and you're implementing all this functionality, then that's where the diamond comes in, to organize the smart contract functionality and to enable it to grow in a structured, organized way. It's like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. One kind of somewhat of a comparison is in like web development. It's very common to use web frameworks like React, JS, and a bunch of others. And so on the smart contracts levels, the diamond is kind of a base infrastructure with an organizational structure to grow a smart contract system. So it kind of has that kind of framework quality to it.
And NFTs expanding into so many industries. And in one of the Tokenverse podcasts, we're interviewing Paul Kohlhaas, who is the founder of Molecule, where they're using NFTs for pharmaceutical development research. So I was wondering, where do you see the application and which industries when it comes to the standards you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. So, the diamond is really a generalized tool, like a programming language, a generalized programming language. With a programming language, you can build all kinds of applications in all kinds of industries, right? So, so the diamond really can be applied in any industry. You need smart contracts for pharmaceutical. You need it for a game. You need it for DeFi. You need it for something else. I mean, the diamond can be applied. I think that there's uses for the diamond that have been thought of and not even explored yet. Like the diamond kind of gives a super, like an additional power on like smart contracts that can do a bunch of stuff. And I feel like the diamond provides an additional kind of power, which is reusable code, like in the traditionally, like if you're going to do an NFT contract, you could use the code that already exists for making an NFT. You just deploy that code, and it's already been audited. It's already been used a lot. Well, and you just deploy it. Well, with a diamond, it's possible to deploy some code. So I get this deployed code on the blockchain, and then that actually deployed code can be reused by other diamonds. And so you're not having to keep redeploying. Mm-hmm. Everyone doesn't have to redeploy the same code. Someone can deploy something once that works, it's been audited, and people can just reuse that already deployed functionality. And so diamond kind of then it's kind of takes things to the next step in possible reuse of on-chain functionality. So that's something that I like to see people take more advantage of. That's kind of new.
Yeah. So when you're saying that the potential of diamonds is unexplored yet, are there any particular industries that you would like to suggest it's being used, or any industries that you're passionate about and you would like to see the application of diamond?
I think in diamond makes, as I said, it makes sense in NFT projects where it's a lot of functionality or it's going to be expanded. I think in metaverses, it makes sense because there's a lot of functionality there. In games, DeFi protocols make sense, especially if they get more complicated or they get larger, or they could potentially change over time. So DeFi protocols. And I'm sure it'll be used in other industries. DAOs is a good use case for diamonds, and like there's a project, Derivadex has done this thing where, a DAO is this, where you have a group of a community that can control the project via the DAO, through the DAO. And so you can have DAO smart contracts and a voting system so that, the diamond that controls the protocol of the project can be upgraded based on votes from the DAO. And that makes a lot of sense that, because people, there should be security, there should be limits to the ability to upgrade a system. And a DAO, meaning like the community says, yes, we want to upgrade it, and they could use that, they can use the DAO they can approve through the DAO, which then can upgrade the diamond for the project. So again, that's not really a specific industry, but that's more of like a trend of how projects get managed. And I think that the diamond fits in there well. Barnbridge also uses a diamond for their DAO functionality for controlling protocols. I guess I see that traditional finance has a lot of financial products and financial functionality, and I see that moving into DeFi more and more. And I think that stuff gets kind of becomes a lot of functionality. And so the financial industry products moving into smart contracts, I think that the diamond makes sense there, because again, it becomes can become a lot of functionality, complicated functionality, and the diamond can provide organized structure and ability to expand.
Are there already any DeFi application of diamonds that you're aware of?
Oh, that I'm aware of? Yes, there's one called, there's a list of like 30 projects, and some of them are DeFi. Yeah, there's one, I kind of forget the name of it off the top of my head. I know we have limited time, but and so there's a number of DeFi apps that are doing it. A new one is Beanstalk Protocol, which is like it's a new lending protocol that's implemented with a diamond, and then there's others.
And any DAOs?
Yeah, there's a DAO called Pi DAO that leverages the diamond in some of their DeFi stuff. There's as I said, Barnbridge, their DAO uses it. Derivadex, maybe others. I don't know. People keep doing things with diamonds and they don't tell me.
All right. So how do you feel about that? Do you like to be informed?
Oh, I like to be informed, and I like to add a list, like to add to the list. I really like to know what people are doing or what they plan to do. So I definitely like, but of course, no one has to tell me anything, and I'm happy to see people using the standard, whether they tell me or not.
So how does it feel when you find out about the new project which is using the standard?
Well, I like it. I of course I like that, because I built this so that it would be useful to me, but also I thought it was interesting, could be useful for others, and I really built it for others to use and be useful for. I got a lot of feedback from people from using it, and I tweaked things, and so.
And do you feel like when it comes to the awareness about the standard, do you think it's sufficient, or do you wish that actually more people would know about it and would be able to benefit from it?
I think that it would be good if there was more awareness of it. I think that it should be more information about the diamond and the the educational materials about Solidity development, about smart contract development. I think that it'd be good if courses on Solidity would, at least at the end of courses, talk about the diamond, because the diamond, there's smart contract development, and then there's upgradable contracts, and then there's diamond is a more advanced technique for organizing contracts and upgrading contracts. So it's like, I wouldn't expect a beginner smart contract developer to implement diamonds, but definitely someone who has a little bit of experience and who understands smart contract development, then they can get into diamonds. I also look at diamonds as like, I see if there's some developer who's implemented a diamond and they've done stuff with it. It's an indicator of for me of seeing that it's a good developer, that they can read the documentation of diamonds, and they can understand it. They can understand Solidity, And so that's one of the things I noticed is that a good Solidity developer can pick up a diamond, and it's just a way to see ability.
And if you are a Solidity programmer and you're thinking about getting into these standards, using them, how do you know if you know probably at the right level to get into these?
To get into these?
To get into using diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, so a person would need to understand how the Solidity programming language works, to a good degree, would be able to know how to write a Solidity contract and deploy it. It kind of depends on different people. Like, someone who already has a software background, software development background for some years will be able to pick up a diamond easier than someone who's limited on their software development and knows less less experience in software development. But that being said, it depends on intelligence. I've seen a guy who doesn't have background in software development pick up smart contract development pretty fast and pick up diamonds pretty fast too. So I think it depends, but you'd have to know how to write smart contracts. You'd have to know like how state variables work. You have to know like the base. I don't know, like probably after a Solidity boot camp or something like that, and they did well on the boot camp, and it's a decent Solidity boot camp. After the boot camp, then they could start looking at diamonds.
Maybe they could have a little prize for people who do the boot camp. The people who do very well, they could have a little short course about diamond.
Yeah, sure.
That could be a good idea. But now let's tell me about Aavegotchi. What was the inspiration behind this project?
Yeah, so the founders, Dan and Jesse, they contacted me because they were going to build Aavegotchi, and they contacted me about being a potential advisor for their project because they saw the benefit of using the diamond for them as something that they could use to rapidly do development for their project as it goes on, because Aavegotchi is definitely that kind of project where they implemented something, like they implemented the Aavegotchi NFT and their wearables, and they launched the project with that, right? And then they did actually just stuff before that. They launched their token, they did staking, and so I might be missing things. They did a raffle. But like these things were incremental. Like we do their token. Okay, they launched that. Okay, let's do staking, do that, then launch that. It's not like they did everything and then launched. They just like launched something. They made something, launched it, made something, launched it. And so they could see that the diamond would work well into that development roadmap where they can incrementally develop something and launch it and build the community. And so they wanted me to be an advisor. And also they had a lot of functionality they need to organize as well. So they let me an advisor, but I looked at what they were doing in their white paper, and at that time I liked what they were doing. It looked like a lot of fun, and they're going to build a really fun community. And so I just said, hey, how about I write this diamond and this stuff for you. I also wanted like a really good use case for a diamond, and I thought the project would be really, really good. So I decided I would do it. And so they said, okay. And so I wrote the diamond that, for the Aavegotchi and wearables and some staking stuff and various stuff. But then since then we hired more Solidity developers, and I've stepped out of a lot of Solidity development for Aavegotchi since then, but I'm still involved in their development, and I review their contracts and diamond stuff and that sort of stuff. But that I think that's the motivation, is just they saw the potential for it and it fit their project, and then we were a good match to work together.
Fantastic. And again, for less technical audience, could you tell us in layman terms, how is Aavegotchi project pioneering NFT space, in sense, like how is it different to just normal, straightforward NFT project?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that the more typical NFT project is like, is like a JPEG. That's like, if you're going to simplify an NFT project, it's like a JPEG that is, stored on the blockchain. It's not actually stored on the blockchain, but it's associated with something stored on the blockchain. But the idea is buying and selling JPEGs, or owning, you might say, owning JPEGs and buying and selling that ownership of JPEGs on the blockchain, and that's your NFT. That's a lot of them. So Aavegotchi is different because it is an NFT, but they're really implementing game mechanics. It's making into a game. So for example, you get an Aavegotchi, and it has a pet function, and so meaning you can execute a transaction to pet your Aavegotchi, and that affects its kinship, which is basically how happy it is, and and so you can make it happy, and then there's a reward system where you can earn some ghost, which is the token for Aavegotchi if he's happy, and then there's other characteristics which can be improved if you add wearables. So an Aavegotchi implements a form of ERC-998, the composable non-fungible token standard. So you can have an Aavegotchi and you can put a hat on him and some clothes, and maybe their particular kind of hat and clothes that improves his traits. And by doing that, there's again a reward system. It makes it more rare, and because it's more rare, you can earn ghost in the rarity farming. Because you can make your NFT more rare by increasing or decreasing its traits, and so that's an aspect of the game. So but these things like petting it, and these are all on-chain things. It's not like like some game systems, they might have ownership stored on the blockchain, but everything else is off-chain. And they may have those game stuff that's just like that's not on the blockchain. It's not recorded on the blockchain. It's kind of arbitrary what other developers want to do with it. But this functionality is on the blockchain, and these things are being stored there. So one of the things Aavegotchi is it can hold ERC-20 tokens. And in fact, for an Aavegotchi to come into existence, you have to put some DAI, some ERC-20 some particular ERC-20 tokens into the Aavegotchi to make it come into this universe, and so then the Aavegotchi's here, and then the Aavegotchi's building a metaverse where then you can take your Aavegotchi, you can put them in on a land parcel, and you can do things, and all these things are on chain transactions, and so Aavegotchi is really a great example of making NFTs more, because it's DeFi, because you're dealing with ERC-20 tokens that are in it. And then it's these gamified things. It's really a game. So it is an art project, because it's all, all games are art projects in that they all have graphics, and the graphics add to making something that people like, but it's a game. And it's also one of the things I think is innovative about Aavegotchi is it's really partnered with a lot of other projects. Like it's partnered with Aava by using Aava's interest-bearing tokens. It's partnered with Chainlink using randomization stuff. It's partnered with Polygon. I think it's partnered with other things. So it's really has a partnering focus of leveraging existing blockchain technology and players, which is pretty good, pretty cool.
Did you enjoy working on that project?
Oh yeah. I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
And if you had to compare working on a project such as Aavegotchi vs just developing standards, like how is it for you?
Oh, like working on a project or working on a standard?
Yeah.
I think I like them both, but I think that they also they help each other, because when you're developing a standard, you're making something that is going to be used by implementations, by people implementing something specific. And so if you have that experience of implementing things specific, then when you make a standard, you can understand what people might want to do with your standard. It helps you develop your standard so it's practical and not some idealistic thing that's not actually going to be useful because it's too general or too specific. So they complement each other. And so like some people, if they focus just on standardization, they can lose reality of like what's actually how this is actually could be used. Maybe the same could be done if you're just working on specific applications. I don't know. So I like them both. It is different though. The standard is working on a standard tends to be more technical because well, they're both very technical, but a standard is more broad. Like you have to think about a lot of use cases. I think about a lot of people. So it's more like mind heavy. I don't know how to say that. Like you have to be like smarter, I think, to do a good standard.
So would you advise other people who are writing standards that they also get involved in like hands-on programming on such projects?
Yeah, I think someone who's going to make a standard, they should also write a reference implementation, which is like their own implementation of the standard that shows an example of how to use a standard. I think it also makes sense for someone making a standard to actually do some kind of project with it, or get involved with someone else that's doing a project with it. So, but also just get a lot of feedback, get people implementing using the standard and use their feedback for it. That's what I'd say on that. Yeah.
What was the the best feedback you got while working on this standard on EIP-2535?
That's a good question. I got some good feedback on it for sure. I mean, it's all very, pretty technical things. I mean, the best feedback, I'd have to go look back because, on it, but like, some people said you shouldn't store strings inside on the blockchain because it's very gas heavy. And so it ended up not storing, the diamond does not store strings. It's more efficient in gas. Yeah, so that's a good question. But going back, I just want to give it a good example. I thought of something. The main author of ERC-721, which is William Enterkin, and he made his own project called Sue Squares. It's one of the first ERC-721 NFT projects. So I think that was very good of him. That he's like, really focused on the standard, but makes his own project using the standard. I mean, that's just a good example of, I think, what a standards author should. You don't have to do that, but it's a good idea to do that.
Are there any other standards writers that you admire their work?
I'd say yes. So there's I Will Enterkin with his work. There's Vitalik Buterin writes standards. I read, admire his work. And I'm sure there's others. I'd have to go look at them. I'm not used to just talking about them, but I do admire some of the other the work that I think some of the other people that worked on ERC-721. I think did some good stuff.
Are there any partnerships you can think of that could be your dream partnerships? Somebody you would really like to work with?
Yeah, well, Coinbase is, I've heard, is doing an NFT platform. If they're going to be using like Polygon or Ethereum, and if they're going to use smart contracts, then I'd like them to consider using the diamond. I think marketplaces, NFT marketplaces should I'd like them to adopt the diamond standard. DeFi protocols, more DeFi protocols. Anyone that's going to be doing something big, I'm interested in partnering with diamonds, or something that maybe it starts small, but there's a big vision for it. Or someone wants to take something big. I'm interested in partnering with them, or like helping them with the diamonds or that kind of thing.
So actually helping them with implementation.
Well, maybe as an advisory. I probably wouldn't do development, because if I do development on a project, then I get my time gets stuck in that. And so I'm very part-time. When I work advisor for a project, I'm very part-time. I help give direction, give ideas. I might review the structure of their system, that kind of thing. Another thing I'm really interested in, what I want smart contract library authors to use the diamond, people to build frameworks and tools on top of the diamond to make smart contracts easier to build, more user interfaces that interact with diamonds. So more tooling for diamonds, people to do that. I'm really interested in supporting people who want to do that, and I'm really interested in that.
And going forward, how would you like to allocate your time?
I think going forward is providing some technical support for people who want to get started with the diamonds, providing technical help for projects that want me to advise for them on their project. Exploring ideas of like building things on top of the diamond, like I said, like reusable code, that's reusable deployed code and tools. So I think along these lines.
Are you not playing with idea of writing new standard?
Oh, a new standard? It's possible. I've got a friend, Cliff Hall, who has this idea of doing a standard for a new metadata, an on-chain metadata standard for ERC 721s, because you know, because right now the metadata is kind of off-chain by giving this URL to some JSON thing. But like some blockchains like Polygon, more data can be stored on-chain, and you can put stuff metadata on-chain. And so like an on-chain metadata standard for non-fungible tokens would be cool. I'm open to other possibilities, but I'm not actively doing writing any new standards for contracts at this time.
You said that you like to, you know, make a deep dive into something when something is coming towards you. So if you actually ended up collaborating with your friend on working on this new standard, does it mean that, you know, all the diamonds projects would be left behind?
No, I think that the diamond stuff is bigger than me at this point, meaning that like there's enough documentation and videos on the diamond of enough people who know about it that like if I disappeared tomorrow, the diamonds would continue, like people would continue to adopt it. It would continue to, everyone who's working on diamonds, they'd figure stuff out and they'd keep going. So like as far as me, like I don't feel like I'm a necessary ingredient to the diamonds standard at this point, but I certainly can help advance and save time and help build things on top of the diamond and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you'd like to see more implementation of diamond standard, but generally, where would you like NFT industry going?
Yeah, I'd like to see the NFT industry to start eating into the traditional world ownership of things. So like, you know, your marriage license is an NFT, you know, your driver's license is an NFT, your ownership of your house is an NFT, you know, more, you know, and seeing that the NFTs can create more efficiencies and reduce costs for ownership and transfer of ownership in the traditional world. So I like to see that direction. I'd like to see NFTs take, I don't know, it's like, I think that there's a lot of innovation possible with money still, with including with NFTs because of the Lego aspect and the programming aspect where you can, and this speed of, you know, you can develop stuff fairly quickly to do lots of things with finance. So I'd like to see that. I think that's really interesting. But you know, and to see it take more take off in more ways. I think it'd be good for charity, like raising funds, like auctions and things like that for charity and auctions for other kinds of things. I'm an advisor for Boson Protocol, which is creating a marketplace or ways to buy and sell physical goods using blockchain, using NFTs and blockchain and stuff like that. So I like to see, you know, I want to see Boson do that and compete with Amazon for selling and buying physical products and integrate with metaverses, things like that.
Yeah, the question of the mass adoption, of course, is coming back to this podcast all the time. And I was wondering if you could name any people who actually do a great job in making NFTs more known and more popular.
Well, you know, recently I've noticed that there's been like famous people and like, you know, actresses and stuff saying, oh, I'm getting into NFTs. Who was, I forget, I saw someone doing. So I think that, you know, people who already have big audiences starting to mention NFTs and use them. You know, I think that NFTs and perhaps tokens, cryptocurrencies could be used to help build communities. And so these people who are famous, who already have communities, they can use NFTs to more engage with their audience and to reward them, to grow their audience. So I think that's another big use of NFTs in crypto, is for audience, building audiences and interacting with them, doing more things, rewarding them. So, and I think as more people with audiences do that, that's just going to increase the mass adoption of the blockchain.
How do you convince people who are non-technical and you want to tell them about this amazing potential of NFT technology?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Like, I remember in 2018, I was researching NFTs. I mean, not researching. I mean, I already understood all about the technology, NFTs and smart contracts, how to develop them, everything. But I was just more researching like beyond, like, more advanced possibilities with technology with NFTs. Like I was working on ERC 998 and I think it was in 2018 or 19, which is, most projects don't go that far with NFT technology, smart contract stuff. So, but I guess what I'm saying is in 2018, like, I was blown away by NFTs and the possibilities and how they're going to control ownership of things. Like they could be used to control ownership of things and replace all traditional ways of proof of ownership. And I said, this is amazing. This is like, but like no one else I knew, except for some people online. Like that's what I wonder is, like, am I crazy? Like, am I the only one who thinks this is like the future of a major, like, this could be a huge thing? So I was kind of and so I certainly didn't convince non-technical people. I just worked with the technical people and did what I was doing. And then I guess I don't think I need to get people. I don't need to sell people on it, because other people will do that. So that's just how I feel about it. I don't worry about trying to explain it to people who don't know anything about it. I do explain it to people who are interested. I love to talk about it. But I don't think, I think other people can do a lot of explaining and showing and stuff.
And how was the technology presented to you? Did you stumble across it? Was it a meeting with someone? Was it an event? Like, what was your eureka moment with NFTs? When did you realize the potential of this technology?
Yeah, I think it caught my attention, like a lot of people, is with CryptoKitties, because I saw it in the news, and this, I already understood it before I understood the concept of cryptocurrencies. How you have these, can own money basically on using blockchain, and the basics of how that worked. But then with CryptoKitties, it gave the idea, okay, well, what if you had a unique thing that you could create a lot of unique things that you could buy and sell similar to cryptocurrencies? And so that's when I first, CryptoKitties brought me to interest in the subject, and then the success of CryptoKitties made it more real to me, that the NFTs could really be a thing. And so, and then then it just becomes like, well, what are they using to make it? It's Ethereum. Okay, well, what are they doing on Ethereum? Okay, smart contracts. Oh, and I can see that their smart contract is open source. I can look at their contract, I can see everything they did. So if you're technical, it's not hard to find, to follow the trail of, like, you hear something in the news, you can follow the trail all the way back to how is this technically implemented, especially when it's open source like blockchain is.
Yeah. I can see you as a kind of real evangelist of this technology, which you're so passionate about, but only to the initiated people, right? I really like your answer when you said that you don't really feel like you have to, explain it to people who necessarily don't know so much about the subject. I was wondering, if you were the most powerful person in the world, how would you change it?
Well, I think that I'd want to change it to make it, this kind of cliche, but I think most people would have the similar answer, is that I would change it to make it better to live in, to make it live in. And so, and I think that if I had, that a lot more power to change things, then I would educate myself more about what things I should focus on to make it a better world to live in. Which is, I think everybody should educate themselves anyway more in life so they can live better in general. But with what I know right now, I would say that I would change it to help handle a lot of things, like well, I think that criminals some of them can be rehabilitated with education. So helping criminals live a better life and not be criminals. Help support human rights, make it more well known across the world what human rights are, getting people stand up for their human rights. So support financially or otherwise campaigns to do that. I think help with drug addiction. I mean, there's all kinds of, there's a long list of things. Help with help rehabilitate people who are on drugs and help prevention of that. So prevention of that. I think that having like strong international and national goals brings people together and in the same direction to some degree. Like, so supporting things like that. Like, I think that so somehow doing that, like maybe space, like trying to concentrate on space exploration is a constructive thing. I think sometimes governments can put their attention on destructive things like war, but if you can get the people interested in something constructive and push their governments to support something big like space exploration, it can put the governments more onto constructive focus, something like that. I don't know, it's probably a lot, economics. I would want, like, one of the things I like about cryptocurrency and blockchain is it provides a way out for people who feel economically suppressed. They feel in some kind of economic slavery where they have to slave away at some job 8 hours a day that they don't like and they hate their life. I think that crypto provides a way out for some people, either by getting involved with the crypto project or by investing, or it's a way out. So I would support things that would help people do better economically. Energy, I focus on new ways to create energy that didn't pollute the earth, and using the energy improvements to help improve the economy of countries in the world. So those are some things.
Yeah, definitely. Would you like to be the most powerful person in the world?
Yeah, I'd like it. I think that the best person to be the most powerful person in the world would be that person who would best be able to help the world be a better place to live in. I'm not sure if that's me, but I would, if it was between me and another guy and I would be better, then I would prefer myself.
Yeah, and you were talking about space exploration. What are your thoughts on Elon Musk?
Well, I think that I like that his focus on creating clean energy, new ways, research into energy, because I think that's important. And I think that putting the world's attention on space and stuff, I think that's exciting. I think that excites a lot of people, or it's interesting, and I think it's constructive, and I think I think that's a good thing. Like there's a lot of things like in the media about bad things, like COVID. That's kind of a negative thing, and there's a lot of negative. The press likes to say a lot of negative things about who murdered who and like all of that. And so I think space exploration is it's a constructive, positive thing that everybody's interested in, and I think that's helps the world, because if people feel good and if they put their attention on something that's constructive, then they will more likely themselves to be constructive, I think, to some more degree. So I think it's good. And I think Elon Musk is, he's done amazing things. I saw him on Saturday Night Live, and I thought he was hilarious. So I think.
So imagine this situation: there is emergency, and suddenly the choice to make the kind of person who is in charge of the world is between you and Elon Musk. Who do we choose?
I don't know. I don't have enough information to do that. I think he has more knowledge and experience I do on such a global or international scale. So he has that in favor, and so he's let's just say that.
I believe you'll be able to tell me one fact about yourself that online community doesn't know about, which is not necessarily connected to your programming career. Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, sure. So I used to ride a unicycle to work. Did that for a while, and I'm actually getting I haven't ridden a unicycle in years, but I ride bikes a lot. And I keep getting flat tires and keep fixing flat tires. This is silly, but I keep getting flat tires and I fix the flat tires, but I've gotten tired of fixing flat tires. I don't know why I get so many flat tires, but I thought, why don't I get a unicycle, because it only has one tire and not two. It's just silly. So I'm getting another unicycle kind of for fun, for exercise and stuff. So yeah, so I used to ride a unicycle and I'm probably going to start riding one again.
And how did you come up with this hobby?
I used to ride my bike to work and I got bored of it. And so I thought a unicycle would be more challenging and fun. I mean, I'm someone who's constantly looking to challenge myself and learn something new. So I don't just do the same things in life. I'm continually improving something or doing something different.
Mm-hmm. And yes, you were talking about education before as well. So what are the fields that you would like to educate yourself in the future?
That's an interesting question. What would I like to educate myself more in?
Just so you're better than Elon Musk.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you right now. I'd have to think about that. Sorry about that. But that's a great question. I do have answers for that, but I'm not going to give an answer for that right now.
Maybe we'll have to reconnect in a year's time or something, and then you might have an answer for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I was wondering, because we slowly going towards the end of the session. I was wondering if there's anything you would like to say or talk about.
Let's see. I don't. Not really. I mean, I don't have anything else. It's been great to discuss the things that I discussed. I could say that one of the things I'm doing is I'm seeing a lot of what people are building, the projects that people are doing, and I think a lot of it's exciting. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with existing projects and what new projects people are going to do, whether or not they use the diamond or not. I'm interested in a lot of things, mostly in the crypto space, Ethereum, Polygon space.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us, for people who are interested in diamond and the stuff that you're working on, what's the best way to reach you or connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm active on Twitter, pretty easy to find there. You can send me a message there, but I'm also on Discord and Telegram and email. There's a diamond Discord. People interested in a diamond can join. There's people in there that know about diamonds and can ask questions in there.
Fantastic. Nick, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we touched on so many subjects. It's been a very informative as well as enjoyable and entertaining. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this Tokenverse podcast, please subscribe to our channel. And of course, next week, same time, at the same hour, please tune in again. Nick, thank you so much once again. Have a great day and see you soon.
Great. Thank you very much, Ania.
Thank you. Ciao. See you soon.
Bye. Bye.